Tommy, I'm 3 months pregnant.
What?
Yes, you heard what I said.
Landman returns with its penultimate episode of Season 2, and for the first time in a long while, it genuinely feels like the show remembered what made Season 1 so compelling. Action, tension, emotional stakes, and real consequences all collide, especially in the final third of the episode. From explosive confrontations to heartbreaking decisions, Episode 9 finally delivers the urgency fans have been craving all season. For most of Season 2, the pacing has been slow, focused more on politics and internal power struggles than boots-on-the-ground chaos. But here, the show tightens its grip. The episode builds steadily before unleashing a nerve-shredding final 15 minutes that reminds viewers why Landman once felt dangerous and unpredictable. At the heart of the episode are two major turning points: Tommy Norris being fired by Cammy, and Cooper saving Ariana from a brutal attack that nearly ends in murder. These moments don't just shock, they redefine the characters and set the stage for a potentially explosive finale. What makes this episode stand out is how consequences finally feel real. Decisions matter again. Risk has weight. Violence has aftermaths. And the quiet tension that simmers throughout eventually boils over in ways that feel earned rather than forced. Here on Thunderstrike's YouTube channel, this episode feels like a return to form. It doesn't erase the flaws of the season, but it does restore faith that Landman still knows how to deliver gripping television when it wants to. With one episode left, Episode 9 does exactly what a penultimate chapter should: raise the stakes and leave us uneasy about what comes next. A recurring issue throughout Season 2 has been the lack of screen time given to Tommy Norris, and sadly, this episode continues that trend. However, the time we do get with him is some of the most meaningful all season. Instead of seeing Tommy bouncing between locations, we find him on a plane with Cammy and the MTEX crew, heading to Louisiana for a rig launch party. The trip itself is symbolic. Cammy organizes the event to convince insurance companies that MTEX is fully committed to drilling a site with only a 10% chance of success, a staggering financial risk. For Cammy, this danger is exhilarating. She believes the thrill of risk is what made Monty successful and built MTEX into what it is today. Tommy, however, sees things very differently. Having lived through the consequences of reckless ambition, especially after losing everything in 2008, he believes that same rush ultimately destroyed Monty. This ideological divide creates the most tension we've seen between them all season. Subtle moments reinforce Tommy's isolation. While others drink freely, Tommy declines. Cammy studies him in silence, clearly weighing a decision. And that decision is brutal. Cammy fires Tommy, believing he no longer fits the future of a company driven by risk and aggression. The final image of Tommy watching the rig roll past him is haunting. If the gamble fails, he was right. If it succeeds, he'll be remembered as a coward. As discussed on Thunderstrike's YouTube channel, this wasn't just a firing. It was a philosophical execution. Cooper's arc in this episode quietly mirrors his father's story, but with a dangerous twist. Earlier, we see Cooper take a bold gamble on site, instructing the crew to dig deeper in an already drained pocket. The decision is risky, but it reveals something important. Cooper thrives on the rush. Unlike Tommy, he's still willing to risk everything to build something meaningful. That hunger for success is tested brutally in the episode's climax. Ariana, working a double shift, is confronted by a man previously banned from the bar. What starts as harassment escalates into a violent attack. Ariana fights back with everything she has, but it isn't enough. Cooper arrives unexpectedly and witnesses the assault in progress. What follows is raw, explosive, and terrifying. Cooper flips the attacker and unleashes a level of rage we haven't seen before, beating him to within inches of his life. For a moment, it genuinely feels like Cooper might kill him. Only Ariana's voice pulls him back. She reminds Cooper that the man isn't worth prison, forcing him to stop. The scene is intense, emotional, and deeply unsettling because it feels real. This isn't heroic violence. It's desperate, emotional, and dangerous. The episode ends from the perspective of a surveillance camera, an intentional choice that raises serious questions. Did Cooper go too far? Will the law see him as a protector or an aggressor? As highlighted on Thunderstrike's YouTube channel, this moment could undo everything Cooper has built: his engagement, career, and future. protection can still come with consequences. Surprisingly, Angela and Ainsley's storyline works better than usual this week. Ainsley preparing to leave for college gives Angela a rare moment of emotional depth. Watching her struggle internally while still supporting her daughter is something many parents can relate to, regardless of gender. The exaggerated inclusion of pagan adds comedic relief, representing the extremes of modern youth culture. While over the top, it provides contrast and humor, especially as Ainsley tries to navigate that chaotic energy. Some moments, like the pool scene and shopping therapy, still feel unnecessary, but they're less grating than usual. Rebecca, however, suffers the opposite fate. Her character takes a disappointing turn. Once portrayed as a sharp, confident lawyer who commanded respect, she's now written as emotionally needy and romantically unfocused. Her interaction with Charlie Newsome feels out of character and undermines the strength she displayed in Season 1. It's frustrating because Rebecca represented something refreshing, a woman defined by competence rather than romance. Turning her into a surface-level character feels like a regression, not growth. As discussed on Thunderstrike's YouTube channel, the show needs to course correct in Season 3. Rebecca deserves better writing, and the series benefits when its female characters are allowed complexity without being reduced to romantic subplots. Despite its flaws, this is one of the strongest episodes of Season 2. The final third is packed with unpredictability, emotional weight, and real stakes. From Cooper's explosive intervention to Cammy's cold dismissal of Tommy, the episode finally feels alive. Billy Bob Thornton delivers a powerful performance, bringing depth and quiet devastation to Tommy Norris. His silence speaks volumes. Meanwhile, the show continues to underuse Sam Elliott, which remains disappointing given his talent. The season as a whole hasn't lived up to its potential. Many fans expected cartel conflicts, on-site danger, and high-stakes operations. Instead, much of Season 2 leaned heavily into politics and soap opera dynamics. However, Episode 9 restores hope. It doesn't fix everything, but it reminds us what Landman can be when it commits to tension and consequence. The finale now has real pressure to deliver, and for the first time in weeks, that feels exciting. This breakdown is brought to you by Thunderstrike's YouTube channel, where we dive deep into episode explanations, endings, and character analysis. If the finale builds on this momentum, Season 2 might still stick the landing.